Hello, PJ Smith here to discuss AEP800 Module 5, Barriers to Web 2.0. The first article I covered was barriers to using 2.0 in the 21st century schools. One common theme I found throughout all of these was time. Another one that surprised me in this article was admin support, because I guess that there's an overall feeling that admin worry about test scores, and it makes teachers afraid to try new and innovative things because it might lower their test scores. I actually feel like that my admin in my district in Lyons really push innovative ideas and like to see that at the risk of lowering test scores. They don't focus on that as much as the rewards you get from employing new ideas. 7 common barriers that obstruct tech adoption in education. Lack of time, again, was the common theme in this one. I also found the lack of funding, a common theme throughout these. One thing, the thinking beyond textbooks. My district is currently trying to find a math textbook to align the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We're looking online for an online textbook, and we find that it's very hard for us to find something that actually aligns with our standards. If you got any ideas, let me know. The next was digital divide. This one was kind of interesting to me because I think that our country is doing better at providing service. I know I grew up in Satana, Kansas, and we didn't have cell phones in Satana until probably 2008. Satana kind of sits in a hole, and it was a dead zone forever. I paid a lot of phone bills for a phone I couldn't use in town. I had to leave. One thing on this I also wanted to point out was it's not just about the geography. It was about the affordability, and I find that very true. Here in Lyons, we have Cox as our only provider, and Cox can be kind of expensive, and I can't really shop around and try to, find a better price unless I go to a wireless internet, and I'm not willing to risk the speeds and the serviceability of not being wired in. The open educational resources. On this one, one thing, I use this a lot in my classroom because I don't really have a curriculum alignment or curriculum like an online a textbook to follow or anything like that. So everything that I teach with pretty much comes off the line. I kind of make my own resources. I find them all online. The hardest thing for me working online trying to find stuff is finding stuff that's good. There's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of stuff is not worth using. It doesn't work for me. So it's been that's been my biggest challenge with that. Barriers to ICT adoption in secondary schools and primary schools. This was the video that we watched. Love the video. It's really good. I think it hits perfectly with what I've experienced in my time as a teacher. When I was in 3rd grade, it was very easy for me to try new things with technology. I had one-to-one iPads, and we used them for all kinds of stuff because I was able to teach the kids how to use iPads, and they only really learned what I wanted them to learn, and it was really easy. And I had them for long periods of time. It was very much worth spending 30 minutes to try to teach them how to use an iPad, because 2 weeks from now they'd be on it and going like crazy. Now that I'm teaching in the 6th grade standing, and it's actually middle school, so they rotate between 8 hours, it's been tougher because I still have iPads. I also have computers, but the kids aren't as good on what I would like for them to use technology-wise, because everybody else has something different. And our schools actually looked into maybe getting a 712 technology person who can start teaching technology aligned all the way through 712, one person, and then maybe then they could relay to us teachers what they're teaching the students in our classes, and that would help our students or help our teachers on what we can use in the classroom and make our kids more successful with technology. Do I feel the digital divide can be resolved? Yes. It's going to take outside the box thinking. What I really think something on weekends, I work at a golf course, and it's a Cox hotspot. And so since I have Cox, I can log into their internet at the golf course using my Cox account, and I can, it's just like having internet at home. And I think that's what we're going to see going forward in the future. We're going to see towns have hotspots where people can get access to it. And I think that's going to pop up more regularly and allow for kids and more people to have access to the internet. What skills do you need 21st student must acquire prior to graduation? This one is kind of unique to me, I think, because my dad and I talk about this a lot. He works in the oil field, and he gets kids that come out, and there's a lot of technology used in the oil field. They have computers in their trucks, and they have to look up how to program their engines, how they run, to troubleshoot them. They do all their billing through online. They have GPS systems. There's a lot, and a lot of kids are coming out of education and they struggle to learn, even though they use technology all the time. They struggle to learn the new style that his company uses, and then they're not able to troubleshoot the technology when it goes down. So if they're out working on something and the machine, the engine's broke down and they got to use their computer to set the timing and their computer's not working, they can't fix their computer. So now they're behind because they needed that computer. So I think one of the real things going forward is our kids are going to have to learn how to troubleshoot the technology that they're using. And that's a skill that I'm not sure we're teaching yet in school. I do think it's going to help with the push on coding and things like that to help troubleshoot that. What impact has global economy had on my personal use in the internet? Mainly, the biggest one I see is my monthly bill paying. I wrote one check this month. Everything else I pay online, and I think that's been huge because then I might take my bank with me everywhere I go, and that's kind of neat. The next one is, what technological training do you still need to effectively integrate technology in your current position? Time. We just need time. We get introduced to a lot of new and neat things in our professional development, and we see it for an hour, and then that's it. We don't ever come back to it. We don't ever talk about it. We never have time to go use it in our classroom and integrate it. I think the main thing that we really need as teachers is more time just to practice and integrate the technology. If that was there, I think more teachers would feel comfortable about trying new things in their classroom. Is our school equipped with the 21st century technology? I'm very lucky in Lyons. Our school's 4 years old. When they came in, they did a pretty good job of figuring out what we would need. I have touch screens, like a smartboard, Mimeo smartboard. I have one-to-one iPads. We have one-to-one computers. We have pretty decent infrastructure in there. We've had internet issues this year, but it's been more of the district-wide, not just building-wide. Our building's been pretty decent. We could always get better. The fear is, though, that since we came and made such a push for technology in our classroom, that when that technology starts to fail or become outdated, we will not have the funding to replace it. And what are advantages of innovative practices in schools? The first one I think is like the biggest advantage is kids get to learn by exploring and creating. And I think that's has a huge impact on how you learn. When I was in the workforce and like doing construction, and you got to like try different ideas and then build with it, it just made you understand so much more when it came to learning and being able to just understand topics and stuff. And I think that's the biggest advantage that we can get moving forward. Disadvantages is cost. It's always going to be cost and time. And then have you experienced any problems with cyberbullying or inappropriate use? I feel like as a teacher, we probably all have. It hits home when it's your kid, or it's somebody in school that really struggles, or you see something that's really bad. But I do think that happens, and that's one of those things where I think it's so important to teach digital citizenships to our kids. That is the end of my report, and thank you for watching.